Welcome to the Marvel Alliance podcast, where we cover everything and anything to do with the Marvel Universe. From the comics, TV, and movies, we'll go from Earth 616 to the Mojoverse to the TVA in order to bring the Marvel Universe right to you. I'm the man without fear, Chris.
I'm the nerd with the mouth, David.
Alliance, assemble.
Assemble.
Volume 282. It has been 2 weeks since we last saw you, heard from you, listened to you, virtually otherwise, but we are back. As the kids say, we are back. We are so back at that point. And we've got this is a show of trailers. That's it. We got a leaked trailer, 3 official trailers to break down tonight. We've got 3 officials, 1 leaked trailer. We've got a ton going on. How were your 2 weeks off?
My 2 weeks off were a nice, chill holiday time. Spent some time with family, spent some time with friends. Got away, quick trip to the other side of the state to see some people that I care about. So, it was nice. It was calm. It was relaxing, and it was a needed reset over the 2 weeks. How about you?
Yeah, it was a good break. Visited family in Connecticut, came home, spent the rest of the time at home, did a little work for a couple of days, but took a lot of the time off at that point. So enjoyed seeing the kids open some gifts. Got some pretty awesome gifts from friends and family. For me, it was just again, it was a nice break. I got Bears Lair in here saying, all right, going to chill and work on my Venom Commander deck. Thank you, Wizards of the Coast and Marvel. Yes. I remember the olden days when I used to play Magic the Gathering. I wish they had Marvel cards at that point. I might have actually stayed with it.
Yeah, it's been a very long time since I played, but yeah, having something along those lines would have definitely kept me in.
Yeah, but yeah, as we said, we've got a lot of trailers to break down. That is basically the entirety of our show this week. So since we've got 4 trailers to break down, let us get into the network plug. So we are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance network, with 6 shows covering the wide range of geek and nerdom. To see the full schedule, check out the show notes below and subscribe to the Geek Ultimate Alliance network on Twitter at GWayPod Network so you know when all the shows drop. We also have a Patreon, so if you want to throw a couple of shekels our way, we've got 2 tiers. Our dollar tiers, our tip jar to say you think we're doing a good job. And then we've got our $5 tier with ad-free episodes, early access episodes, and Patreon-exclusive shows. We've got a few shows in the back catalog for the patrons. We've got We Can Watch This All Day, the Marvel Alliance Infinity Saga rewatch. We've got Tales from the House of X, where we rewatched our favorite movies from the Fox era of X-Men. And then our 3rd show, the Baxter Broadcast, the Fantastic Four Retro Film Reviews. So we've got those 3 shows in the back catalog. The DC Alliance guys have their DC films through the years. Joe's got his Multiverse Minutes Disney Dives, looking on the 1st and the 15th of every month and going through the animated catalog in chronological order of the Disney films. And a lot of other back content out there. We want to thank our patrons, as we can't do this without your support. And if you want to go, and if you're not a member of our Patreon, go to www.patreon.com/GWay Network so you can join the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network on Patreon. And if you're not a member of our Patreon, we totally understand. But if you want to take 30 to 90 seconds and rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcasts, we greatly appreciate it. And last, but certainly not least, we want to thank our official sponsor, panelboundcomics.com, for all your omnibus hardcover collected edition needs. JP and the crew at PBC have got it going on with excellent customer service, immaculate packaging, ships around the world. Got some great new pre-orders coming at you. We've got the final omnibus of Ultimate X-Men, the rebrand of it, Ultimate Comics Omnibus Volume 4. 2 different covers for that. We got this one by Kara Andrews, and then we've got this wonderful Arthur Adams cover. Who is that man with 3 claws? That something happened. This is a new version. This is a legacy of another Canuck, as you were. Not Logan. Someone else is wielding the claws. We've got the final volume of Daredevil by Nascente and Romita Jr., Volume 2. We've got the Ultraman Omnibus, 60th anniversary. Then we've got the final volume of Star Wars Legends, The New Republic coming out. And a lot of great stuff. So you use that code. We got 2 codes, Marvel GUA at checkout to get $2 off every single order. Or use that code MGUASIT for 5% off when you order 4 or more books together. We want to thank them for being our official sponsor. All right. So, yes, so during the break, as we kind of as during the break, what started happening is what we did hope happened was, I know the last time we were with you all, we reviewed and broke down the leaked trailer of the very first Doomsday teasers, and that was Steve Rogers. Well, the Tuesday before Christmas, they released it officially, and nothing changed at all. The leak was proven right for us, so we didn't feel that bad about breaking it down. And so every Tuesday thereafter, pretty much at the beginning of the week, trailer leaks. We kind of see if it's true based on the leaks that we've seen. And then the following Tuesday, Marvel Entertainment releases the official one that has been dropping in all of Avatar, Fire and Ash. I haven't yet to see it. Have you?
I have yet to see it, mainly out of principle at this point, is I was not going to do it because of this release schedule. And so that and I would have to watch the second Avatar in order to do it anyway. So neither of those were on my bucket list.
Yeah. So, but the good thing is we've gotten the Thor trailer officially released. We now have the X-Men trailer officially released. And David and I are also going to break down tonight the leaked other trailer for that is containing the Wakandans, the Telutians, and the Fantastic Four. So that is the 4th trailer that more than likely will be officially released next Tuesday. But we have yet to see that. They said 4 trailers, so we have yet to see a full official Doomsday trailer. So we'll kind of speculate at the end of that, but yeah, so we're gonna break down and we'll have on the top of our screen, the official trailers at that point. But we will not be showing the leak trailer. We'll break it down for you at that point because before we get into that, I forgot to note that next week, before we get into all the trailers, next week will be our annual reckoning/prediction shows. We are going to see next week who was correct and who got wrecked in their 2025 MCU prediction. So we will then follow that with our 2026 predictions. But Mr. Travis Snell will be joining us, as he's done every year, to join us for the predictions at that point and the reckoning. But we will be starting 30 minutes earlier next week. So we'll be going live at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to accommodate his schedule so that way he can stay for the most amount of time. So we'll be going 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the reckoning/prediction show. So make sure to tune in for that. We've got All in the Game there in the chat saying, poor Wonder Man, feels like it's getting buried like Echo did 2 years ago. Yeah, we will be breaking down that trailer after we do the Doomsday one. But yes, that prediction, if any of us predicted that, yes, it is getting buried at that point. But we will break that down as our last part of the show. So the Thor trailer. So as always, it's going to be up there. Volume would be turned down. It'd be minimized because we don't want to get copyright striked, even though, we help promote this for the benefit of Marvel at that point. But all right, so the Thor trailer. We got, let me hit the play button on this one. So we kind of get in this forest view, and Thor's going to be speaking to Odin. Father, I've given all my life, answered every call, and to honor duty to war. He's walking in the forest now. We'll talk about where he could possibly be at this point. It says, now fate has given me something I have never sought. So he's referring to his now, could we call her an adopted daughter? Love? Gore's daughter?
Yeah, I would go ahead and call her the adopted daughter.
So he's, she's obviously grown up, a life untouched by the storm. His hair is back to being basically pre-Ragnarok, but basically kind of Ragnarok, because that's where he got the kind of haircut in that way. So a couple of things, though. Thor's carrying Stormbreaker, which Love was last seen holding. So, we see Love in this trailer. Where is Love going at that? Because he's talking at this point like Love is somewhere. I don't think Love is with him at this point, and I don't think he just left her behind. I'm not the only one that's putting that as a theory. do you think Doom might have kidnapped her?
I'm getting the feeling from this trailer that this is another child that's been taken. Um, Only reason I'm hoping against that is because we just saw this with Love and Thunder with all the kids getting taken. So I don't want an immediate repeat of Thor dealing with someone stealing children. But in this instance, it does kind of make sense where you have all these cosmic entities that are being taken. You know, Franklin has his powers, Love has her powers when she was reincarnated. So that could be a key to why he's taken the children.
Yeah, the like you said, the theme of kids is now more clear with Thor referring to Love as his child. Remember, as you said, like Love is imbued with the power of eternity. Eternity is the embodiment of the universe in the MCU. Eternity granted Gore's wish to revive Love instead of killing all the gods. Much like you said, Franklin has very similar power cosmic set in his universe with its Earth 828. Now, could Doctor Doom try to take these kids to help him reshape the multiverse or steal that power for himself? What do you think about that?
I think it's more reshape the multiverse. If you've got the power cosmic, you've got the power of eternity. Like each kid will have a role to play in the reshaping of a new universe.
Yep, and we've got a much needed return to Infinity War Thor. Yeah, a lot of people are happy to see this because it's definitely you definitely don't see jokey Thor with this at this point. But another question is like, where do we think he is? Is it New Asgard? Is he in another multiverse Asgard? Or is he in another one of the 9 realms?
I was wondering to myself if this is one of those prayer trance things like he did in, I believe it was Age of Ultron, where he just kind of he transports as he's having this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if he's in an actual force praying out or if this is something that's going on within a meditated state.
Mm-hmm. So we know right now, like what we know, that the main universes that are in play for Doomsday are 616, which is our main time, is our prime timeline, 828, which is the Fantastic Four universe, and then Earth 10005, which is the Fox X-Men universe. So here's a question: who is the most powerful person in the Fox X-Men universe? And that would be maybe Rachel Summers, who has the Phoenix Force, who is the child of Scott and Jean Grey. You know,
Yeah, I would say
we've never seen it, but it could be.
If he's looking for people with these Omega level powers, with these cosmic powers, then yeah, Phoenix Force is definitely where you would go next.
Because Famke Jameson has, she could be lying. She could be pulling a, Andrew Garfield, but she's been very emphatic that she's never received a call, is not, and has not filmed anything for these movies, for Doomsday and or Secret Wars. So we may be, that could be, has been a theory going around about who's the one that we still don't know from Stranger Things that's in Brand New Day.
Sadie Sink.
Sadie Sink. That's been a theory going around at that point as well. The red hair and all that jazz. So, but it could be like we were saying, like Scott joined Steve and Thor to chase down Doctor Doom. So as we can kind of continue his prayer, wants to return home to her. He's looking for the simpler life, to teach her not battle but stillness. So he's even looking for a retirement. And so we see Thor will return in Avengers Doomsday. So this is a trailer, like even when we kind of like broke down what we thought as the leak last time, didn't give us too much. It was nice to see Thor back, but it is what it is. I want to kind of talk about something else there as watching this trailer is that, remember in Infinity War, Tony told Pepper they had a son named after her, Crazy Uncle Morgan. Now remember, according to in Multiverse of Madness, when you dream, that is a window into the multiverse to see the lives of your variant self. So here's a theory I want to put out there. Pepper is the most pivotal figure to keep Tony from going too far. He's even said that. He centers her. She centers him. So what if Pepper died, or maybe Morgan too, and he broke bad, and that's how he turned into Doom? Were they killed by an incursion caused by the snap, or Steve staying in another universe? Will 616 Pepper and Morgan get to confront this Tony slash Doctor Doom? What do you think about that?
I think that's an excellent theory that, his, because we're going to have to, we know that this is a Tony Stark variant. So we're going to have to see something that is the breaking point of Tony Stark to get him to go down this road. And losing his family could be it, because as we saw in Endgame and Infinity, like his family meant everything to him in Endgame. He did not want to even go down that road with the Avengers again because he had found a family of his own. He had created this life that he was happy with. So losing that for that Tony could be the big catalyst that makes him shift a little bit from the mathematical sciences to the supernatural.
Now, have you read the Children's Crusade comic, the follow up to the first Young Avengers run?
I have not.
Okay. So, a little bit of spoilers. It doesn't ruin the whole thing. Still highly recommend it. Maybe one that we may read for a comic book club. But Wanda has completely altered reality. Imagine that. There she goes again. And has no memory of that she did that, and marries Doctor Doom. He is convinced that with their immense power, he can make the multiverse whatever he wants. So Doom could, because we do know, Billy is back, and Tommy, at the end of Agatha All Along, like Tommy is back. So he could use Tommy and Billy to draw out Wanda to fill the missing piece and getting her back so that she can be manipulated to use the powers to fulfill his plan. Or he could use Billy, since his power set is basically very similar to Wanda's.
Yeah, they can definitely pull off of the shared trauma and him manipulating her using the kids and going off of that, because we have seen that Wanda is willing to go through any lengths when it comes to her kids and having her time to get back with them.
Well, here's another thing. Take that idea, forget about Wanda. We've got another powerful being out there that we know is confirmed for Doomsday, and that is Tom Hiddleston, Loki. Or, in this case, forget about Wanda. He takes his seat of in where we left him and Loki season 2, and now Doom has full control of the multiverse. He can develop a similar TVA like time platform, transport himself between universes, get to the TVA, take Loki off the throne.
I think that would be a big situation, and then that would also force the general audience to have watched Loki, like you have, I have,
Yeah.
But I think for the general audience, they would be a lot of people would be confused by the Loki aspect of it unless they do a good job within the confines of the movie itself explaining this is how Loki got here.
I think they're going to have to. I don't think they have a choice. They're going to have some sort of idea, because Loki's just showing up after they said, "Wait a minute, I thought he died." Like this, to your point, you're expecting an audience that has watched it, even though Loki is one of the, if not the best Disney Plus show of the MCU.
Yeah.
But like with everything with comics, as Stanley kind of wanted to do. They want to make sure that you can see the movies and just see the movies and do that. And I think that that's going to be very difficult for this one, So, but yeah, so those are some of the things for Thor. Anything else you want to go over with Thor before we take our first ad break before moving into the X-Men?
No, like I said, I agree that I'm excited to see the return of quote unquote Infinity War Thor, the more serious Thor, having a purpose. And then also there is some finality to his prayer, to his plea to the All Father that, he wants to do this, but then afterwards he wants to lay down his axe and he wants to cultivate his daughter for times of peace, not war. Like this is his last hurrah.
Yeah. So, all right, we're going to take our first ad break before we start breaking down the X-Men, the one everyone kind of was waiting for to see it happens at that point. So, but yes, listeners, we have these lovely things called ads. They help to keep the Geek Ultimate Alliance network's lights on. So they can be a bit loud. We don't control what comes on. So we're going to give you a 3 count before they come on, so you can turn that volume down before they come on. 3, 2, 1. We'll be right back. And we are back. All right, so let me queue up, bring back onto the stage the Avengers Doomsday teaser for the X-Men. So this was very exciting for a lot of us, especially for those of us who were just hoping one more chance with these characters. So, all right, so let's start playing. So we do hear Magneto talking about death, and the X Mansion is looking pretty rough. It's basically destroyed and seen better times, pretty much like in every movie.
Yeah. If there's going to be a place that gets blown up and destroyed, it's going to be the X Mansion.
Yeah, exactly. So it has seen better times. It's almost looked like it's basically abandoned. He's saying, "Are you prepared to die?" The question is, who would you be when you close your eyes? So we see the infamous chair, and it's not the yellow, hover chair that we saw in Multiverse of Madness. And, we see the chess piece lifted up, and this has been an ongoing theme with Charles and Eric with playing chess against each other. We see Charles in a very awesome, comic accurate blue X jacket playing chess with Magneto. And we're going to see Magneto in just a second with a full beard. So we got Sir Ian McKellen, Sir Patrick Stewart back in their iconic roles. God, just gave me goosebumps just seeing that at that point. Now he lifts up the Black Queen. Do you think that's symbolic?
I think that there is a reason that they lingered on that particular shot. Yes. I think that there's going to be more to this Black Queen aspect of it. It's not just the throwback to them playing chess. I mean, you could have moved around any pieces, but the fact that is the piece that gets moved is going to have some sort of significance, whether it be the Hellfire Club or another aspect of it.
Yeah. Now the Black Queen in the comics could be a couple of things. So the Queen could be, the Black Queen of the Hellfire Club in the comics was Jean Grey, or could it be the Scarlet Witch? That the messy parentage of Wanda being the daughter of Magneto. It's always been like a weird kind of kooky question. Now during that part, we do quietly hear the Avengers scene playing in the background. And now we'll start playing what many of you, including David, including others, were very excited to see. The ripping off of the stuff, the comic accurate stuff. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we now have a comic accurate costume, the Jim Lee era X-Men, minus the yellow chonies. Some reason they didn't want that. Mr. Scott Summers, Slim himself, going full release of the optic blast at that point. I'm gonna let you just bask in that glory because I know you go for it.
It is gorgeous. Everything from the Y strap going down the chest, the emblem, the leg belts. Like it is a gorgeous, true to form. Like you're giving us everything, and then having this moment of Cyclops just absolutely unleashing. And if you know anything about Cyclops in the comics, he doesn't take this stance, he doesn't take this pose unless like all chaos has broken out and he is just going for it, because he's normally a very well controlled when it comes to the use of his power. So for him to just let loose by this, and if you look
one
closely,
might call him uptight.
I wouldn't go that far, but he is very stern in his ways. um, but yeah, to see this going on and then to look in the background of what's going on, it looks like there is the rubble of the mansion. Like maybe this is taking place outside of the mansion. You see the feet going back and forth behind him, which gives me the vibe of the Sentinels going
Oh, those are
down.
sentinels. There's more than one. There's one that you see walking, and then there's one on the. Clearly, you see the one on one side, but there are other. There's another one walking there too.
Yeah. Now, my question would be, where in the timeline is this taking place? Is this Sentinels that are controlled by Trask, or is this Sentinels that are half Sentinel, half Doombots? Like, and something's going on here. It gives me wonder, but it also gives me a vast amount of excitement because they put some respect on my man's.
Well, let's pump the brakes on that one on my end. I'll let you say that, but I'm going to pump the brakes on it. So remember that spoilers for I don't even know how old it is for X3, but Jean killed Scott in X3, but due to the events of Days of Future Past, he is now alive. That year, when Logan goes back in time after that, is the year 2023, just a few years in the past from when Thunderbolts ended in 2028. So he, like you said, he is looking pretty rough. Tears off his visor, lets out a huge optic blast, full on Marvel versus Capcom style. Now my question is he angry because he has not only lost Jean, but possibly his child, as I've theorized, as being Rachel, who was taken by Doctor Doom? Did Doctor Doom use the Sentinels to take down the X-Men and steal Rachel? If my theory goes.
Yeah, I could definitely, again, if Scott's going all out like this, something big has happened. So the loss of Rachel or something going on with Jean, his family being taken, someone else whose family, whose child has been taken, this would prompt that from Scott. I mean, you saw in X-Men 97 when he got confronted about the truth of having a son who he just had to send away, like how he reacted then. Like this man cares about his family.
Yeah. Well, in comics
He
at that point,
cares about his children.
Okay, now I'm really gonna go hard on you in the comics at that point. This man in the comics, when he was married, had a son with Madeline Pryor. When he got word the possibility that Jean was alive, abandoned Madeline Pryor, abandoned his son, and went straight back to Jean Grey. That is not Father of the Year if I've ever heard of one at that point. So that is where my problem started with Scott Summers.
That's a man torn by love. It's understandable. And until we reach a point where our cloned wife returns and we have to deal with this.
Goodness, the justifications at this point. And I'll tell you what, I've gotten called out saying, can we now, there is a question about if I will relent my ground of Cyclops being wrong. That is coming up. I will save my response, my answer for that. I just want you to remember this scene here and what Scott is doing, all right? I have an answer for that, and I think I will be still proven that hashtag Cyclops is wrong. But jokes aside, here's another theory putting out there. I think this Earth, which is Earth 1005, or a slightly different version of this one, because when it comes to the X-Men and the Fox Universe of X-Men, timelines be damned.
Yeah.
Like canon, whatever. They play fast and loose with the X-Men. Even when they try to correct it with time travel, Days of Future Past, it still gets a little timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly. So is this, I think this Earth is going to be a victim of an incursion. And they have a moral dilemma. Will they destroy that other Earth to save their own? Now, old Magneto, like original first X-Men movie, would have done that without hesitation. That is Magneto in a nutshell. Even X3, Magneto in a nutshell. But maybe this Magneto is having a change of heart. Maybe Charles is advocating to do this now because in the comics, Charles is part of the Illuminati. Charles is part of the side that says, hey, maybe we need to take out these other Earths in order to save our own. or maybe this is Magneto trying to convince Charles to do that and destroy the other Earth.
Yeah, I lean more towards Magneto trying to convince Charles. I think in every universe, Charles still has that outside ire of goodness to him. Now he's another one who he does make some decisions that make you question his virtues and make you question, okay, what decisions is he making as a leader. But I think for this version of Charles, it's definitely going to be Magneto convincing him.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see that, but yeah. So let's finish out. We gotta just blow it away and said this one: the X-Men will return. Now, are we going to hear? I know you shared a TikTok with me, and I still had drums because she's another Cyclops supporter at that point. Um, the X-Men '97 theme. Are we going to hear that, or are they going to choose like the not as like unless you're really that dialed in, the X2 suite from the X-Men? I really do think, since they did the da na 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 in Miss Marvel, that's where they're gonna lean towards and give us that little thing. What do you think? You're gonna go X2 suite or 97?
I think we're getting old school. We're getting animated X Men. You're getting that guitar riff because it is just so iconic. Even
Mm.
if it is, buried into something else, you're getting it.
Yes, that's what I'm hearing. All right, so I'm gonna take this off the screen because now we come to the part of the show that, yes, we are expecting this trailer to drop officially next week, but we do have our prediction shows next week. And after watching the trailer, I mean, there's some things to kind of get excited for, but we just said let's keep the theme going. David and I said we're gonna break it down, but we cannot air it because we do not want to be taken down, because every time we've seen this thing pop up, it's only up there for maybe a few minutes at best before it's sniped down, and we don't want this to get demonetized and us getting a copyright strike. So that would be a big no-no. So this is we're kind of titling the Wakanda Tolution Fantastic Four trailer. So with this, we start in the desert, and with this desert, we got a couple of ideas. What could this be? This desert, David?
Well, at first, it does look like a section of the void. It also looks like the ending area outside of Wakanda where Shuri and Namor fought before. Um, I know this was actually filmed on location in a desert. They didn't use the green screens. They didn't use the VFX, the 360 screen that they have from
The
Mando and
volume.
other Disney projects. So they actually went on location to film this. So um, I don't think that you make that choice unless you really absolutely need to make sure that you're in a desert.
Yeah, the void is the easy answer. I think right now it's a bit too early to bring in the void until either the end of this movie or Secret Wars. Like you said, it could be where they fought in the desert, but as we're gonna see later on with the Fantastic Four jumping into this trailer, why would the Fantastic Four meet Shuri and Namor here? Seems very random. I think this is either the Sahara Desert or what I think is more likely, a desert outside of Wakanda. So,
Yeah.
but we do see Shuri coming into frame, talking about that she has lost everyone in her life: her dad, her brother, her mother. Like, she's it, basically, outside of Nakia and T'Challa's son. My question to you are we going to see Nakia or T'Challa's son in this movie?
I think that we will get a mention of them, but I do not think that we will see. I don't think we will see the same actor that we saw play a young Toussaint slash T'Challa in the end of Wakanda Forever. There are rumors of a new version of T'Challa coming, so if they decide to go that route, I could see that being shown, but I don't think we will be seeing Kid T'Challa.
And at the end of Wakanda Forever, now remember, she did not fight M'Baku for the throne, so she could focus on being Black Panther and look after her nephew. Then we see the Telecon warriors led by Namora and Namor. They were given. Now remember, they were given a different variant of the heart-shaped herb. That's how they kind of get their power set as well. I do think it's interesting to note, as we see in the trailer, that they are airborne, and these aren't
Yeah.
Wakandan ships. These are the I always get the Telecon ships because it has Mesoamerican symbols on it.
Yeah, it looks like there's definitely been, from the upgrades to Shuri's suits, from some of the details on M'Baku's clothing, there's definitely been some sharing of resources between these two countries.
Which I find interesting. I know they had like a truce between them, but
You still kill
I
my moms. Like, yeah, we
but
got problems.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I personally think that they they may have studied the Wakandans. They may have seen, okay, we need to, yeah, we've got the sea, and over 70% of the Earth is covered by sea, so we still win. But to get air supremacy or some sort of airborne power, that they could take on the Wakandans a little bit better and the surface world. They do look like at this point when we see Namor there, it looks like they are right outside Wakanda in the background. Now, in the series from the comics, the times runs out, which I do think I would like to propose that as we get closer to Doomsday, I think that may be one of our series that we lead up to Doomsday coming out. So we may, even though I want to read it now, I kind of want to time runs out for that time.
I
What do you think?
I say let's do it.
Yeah. So Namor is part of the Illuminati, and much like Charles, when they find out about the security, he is on the side of no, let the other Earth die. We're gonna take them down. And Reed, this is a direct contrast to Reed, who is, in the movies. I'm not gonna say in the comics. That's a whole different Reed. But in the comics, Reed is the one is unwilling to sacrifice his own son to save the world.
Yeah.
But Namor is going to be one of the ones to advocate to take down the other world.
Yeah. So I could see that this version of Namor being exactly the same, where he's like, this is coming. You know what? It's us versus them. We're going to choose us every time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's going to change this because however many years have gone by at this point. Now, Shuri says that the king has a duty to prepare his people for the afterlife, and I have mine. Now, this is the second trailer in a row about death in the afterlife. Steve was about the beginning of life. Thor was one about praying to stay alive to see his daughter. The X-Men trailer showed Magneto talking about the manner of which they will die and who they will be when they close their eyes. So not everyone is going to make it out of these movies. No resurrections, no redos at this point. And this trailer is talking about death as well. So we see the afterlife is a real thing in Wakanda and the Soul Stone. So we've got life, we've got begging to stay alive, and then we've got some death going on. So yeah, I that's the thing I'm hopeful in this movie. Not saying again, these are fictional characters, but I'm hoping for some significant death that we don't see coming.
Yeah. And originally I wondered, when it comes to the release order of these, I wondered why they went with Thor and they went with Thor second. But now after seeing it go from new birth, life, death, afterlife, I now see kind of where the string of the four are going.
Mm-hmm.
This is the cyclical nature of this universe, and so many of the different groupings believe in some form of the afterlife. So you have your birth with Steve Rogers, you have your living and protecting life with Thor, you have your death when it came to the X-Men, and now you have your talk of the afterlife.
Yep, on the game says death needs to mean something. Yep. And so, yeah, we agree with that. So we do see Shuri walking with King M'Baku and the Dora Milaje, and then they meet the ever-loving blue-eyed thing, Ben Grimm, where M'Baku introduces himself as King of Wakanda. Ben says that who he is, and Ben Grimm from Yancey Street.
Yeah.
Corner of this and this. And so they meet the Wakandans before anyone else. And so this is interesting because this is very much comic accurate too, because in the comics, the Black Panther's first appearance was in Fantastic Four number 52, which was actually right after the arc where they fought Galactus. How's that for you know, coincidence? I think not.
Yeah.
So, but the reason, kind of going back to where we think this desert is, and I kind of say it's outside of Wakanda, I think when the Fantastic Four arrive, they scan Earth to find the most advanced technological city. And what is that on this Earth? Wakanda. So that's why they land there. Or maybe and that in their Earth, they didn't really talk about it. I'm not saying, they were very emphatic that the Fantastic Four are the only heroes of that Earth. Does Wakanda exist on that Earth? Was it a technologically advanced area,
We didn't see it in the Future Foundation Summit. They
Mhm.
panned some of the countries and things like that, so we didn't get a chance to see
We did see
if they were
Latveria,
the
so
country there. Yes, we saw Latveria with its missing representative, but we didn't see Wakanda. So it could be a situation where they know Wakanda exists. And out of respect, Reed has left them hidden. And so now that he's going to this Earth, he's going after who he knows. Or it could be, yeah, they scanned and all their scans picked up on this is the most technologically advanced place, so this is where we're headed.
yeah. And the end of the trailer says the Wakandans and the Fantastic Four will return in Avengers Doomsday. So that trailer is expected to drop next Tuesday. So if you want to see the all in its glory at that point, but that is kind of our breakdown of that. So one thing I wanted to put out there, that's something we haven't seen, and you know, thinking about it, like, where are the 10 rings? We kind of had that at the end of the um Shang-Chi, the 10 rings having this signal, and they didn't really know, and we kind of theorized when Kang was a thing that this kind of similar to Kang, it would be his signal. But could this be a signal that Doom is tracking to head to this Earth?
It could be, or it could be that this is also what maybe the signal that the Fantastic Four originally locked onto. So um, I do want to know what's going to become of the Ten Rings, and I am excited to see Shang Chi again. I literally just watched that movie again 2 days ago,
Hmm.
so I will be happy to have Shang Chi back.
Yeah. So, so my question to you is, they said these 4 teasers are gonna drop. Is the fifth full trailer, is it going to drop in week 5, or is this the kind of what others are theorizing? We're not gonna get any more trailers like this, and the full trailer will come Super Bowl.
I'm banking Super Bowl.
Yeah, we do have. I'm with you on that. If nothing else drops, I think they're gonna do what they did, kind of like X-Men, Wolverine and Deadpool. Short little teaser. Watch the full trailer online.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm gonna do at that moment? I don't care who's playing at that point. I don't care where I'm at. I do the same thing I do. I'm going to another room, watching it on my phone, and then putting it on the big screen when I get home.
My Chiefs aren't in it, so I'm leaving the room. I'm watching it 3 4 times. I will miss a quarter and come back and be a okay with that.
And then Brent and you are gonna have a meeting when you get to work the next day, just to do it there too, right?
Exactly.
Good. All right. Well, we're gonna take our next ad break before we break down our final trailer of the evening, Wonder Man. Get excited, folks! It's gonna be a doozy. So, as you know, listeners, these ads help keep the lights on the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network. We don't get to choose what ads come on, and they can be a bit loud. So give that 3 count before they come on. 3, 2, 1. We'll be right back. And we are back. All right. So we did, and I wasn't necessarily expecting this. I can't remember where this dropped in our 2 weeks. Did this drop last week? I want to say yes. There was like
Yes.
no fanfare. Yeah, 7 days ago, according to Marvel Entertainment's YouTube. So yeah, it dropped last week. No kind of fanfare. Maybe there was like all of a sudden some new posters coming out there. But yeah, this is the first.
Yeah, that's all it was. Was they dropped the trailer out of nowhere, and then they kept putting up posters, advertising, like a call sheet style poster kept popping up, various different call sheets.
Yeah. All right, so let us kind of break this down. So we see Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. You know, this is Simon. He's playing Simon Williams. You know, he wants to be a star. So, but he has a secret, and this is the kind of the first acknowledgement of Simon. He does have powers because I don't remember anything really saying like. I really was thinking that he wasn't going to have powers and he was just going to be playing a super powered individual with no powers. So I was kind of like, oh, okay, so he is going to have powers.
Yeah, the whole he has a secret thing made me think, I'm like, okay, so these aren't artificial. This is he legitimately has powers. Okay.
Yeah, so this is Trevor Slatney. He used to be an actor or a terrorist. I've never seen him
Yeah.
before. I love this. I'm pretty sure he used to be a terrorist.
I absolutely love that every time I see that it pops me.
Yep. And Trevor wants to help, maybe. You know, he said, let's not give him any strange energy to pick up on. We both have a lot riding on this, Simon. Why do you keep saying that? All right, so Mr. Kovacs going to be the director of this Wonder Man movie. So we got Marvel Television. So Von Kovacs, the director of this Wonder Man relaunch. So this whole idea of superhero fatigue, and my goodness, wow. That's how the actor also looks too in real life. You know.
Yeah, if you've seen him in other things, that he keeps that same look.
Yep. So yeah, this movie. I mean, excuse me. The theories is supposed to kind of quote unquote be a little meta and look about this whole idea of superhero fatigue. And he really wants to do this, but as they will reveal in this trailer, and they start saying like he has powers, and they're going to need him to sign a waiver confirming that he doesn't have superpowers. And so now, you know, the Sokovia Accords are done from what we understand, but there is this kind of anti-superhero kind of thing, maybe in Hollywood, that they don't want anyone with powers in the movies, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, having to sign a waiver that you don't have powers is very much it's, I guess it would be the new normal. Like we want true actors, not people who are quote unquote cheating their way into this part.
Yep. And so, you know, he's trying to do everything. He wants this part, but you know, we're getting the hints of his kind of power set. You know, obviously some super strength. You know, that's the one thing we have confirmed.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to like, and we got the damage control. Considers Simon Williams an extraordinary threat. So they're aware that he does have powers. Look at all these Academy Award winners, all in this show. The last show of the Chapek era of pump out the content.
Yep.
And if you don't, if you didn't remember at this point, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II was at the Fantastic Four official release, the red carpet, as Simon Williams.
Yeah. Full in character, doing interviews as an actor.
Yeah. So it's going to be very interesting to see, you know, how this. So, yes, did I chuckle at points in this? I did. This series drops in its entirety January 27th. I believe there are 8 episodes.
Yes.
Okay. So 8 episodes. As All in the Game say, yeah, this is MCU meets Apple TV's The Studios. Yes, that's what some people are kind of saying for it. Again, I have not hidden my kind of meh excitement for this. It has nothing to do with the actors and actresses involved. No one, and I'm not saying who greenlit this, who wanted this. I'm not saying that. No one's going to set out to make a bad show like this. My problem with this is the same thing I had problem with Echo. They're dumping it all. They're doing very little to promote it, and that says more to me about like that really hurts my excitement for it, just because they're not trying. They don't. Again, we're a few weeks away. I do not see them changing too much out of they're going to give the bare minimum of the push for this, especially with 8 episodes. We're not talking 20 minutes. I think that these are some of these are going to be like 30 to 45 minutes from what I understand.
Yeah, and it's sad because just like with Echo, these aren't characters that you already have established. So it's not like that it's selling itself.
Outside of Trevor.
You're trying to build these characters. You're trying to build this audience. So to just dump it and forget about it just seems like a big slight to the characters themselves.
Yep. So David and I have one more week or two more to figure out how we're gonna tackle this. We still are kind of hemming and hawing about it. The 27th, what is that? A Wednesday that it drops, or is that a Tuesday? It's a Tuesday. So there is a potential that we could do the entire series depending on how good we are with it, but it's a lot. I'll be honest with you, listeners. If they're about 30 to 45 minutes an episode, doing that over 2 days and kind of get notes together and things like that, we may have to get creative on this one. So we will let you know very soon how we're going to tackle Wonder Man.
Yeah.
Because and we are not the only content creators that are kind of struggling with this one of how to break this down. Because again, we want to do good content, but we also don't want to act like we want to give it the respect and the time it deserves too, because it's different from like 4 episodes drop of an animated miniseries that we've done with Eyes of Wakanda, you know.
Yeah. So just because Marvel's doing a drop in dismiss doesn't mean we want to do the same. I would like to have time to fully embrace each episode so that I'm talking about it with clarity and being able to really view it.
So I have an idea, but I'll talk to David off air, see what he says. But we'll soak on it, and when we're ready to do it, you will know at least the week before we do that. At that point, you may know as soon as next week. So. But all right, so those are all the trailers at this point. All in the Game kind of feels as that one should have released 2 episodes a week for 4 weeks. Yeah, I could even see if they wanted to do the Spider-Man Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man round of 3 episodes if that would like do arcs like that. So
Yeah,
but neither here nor there. But all right, so we're gonna head into feedback. What is not gonna happen, at least for the next couple of weeks, is we're going to pause on Fact or Fiction because next week is our prediction show. So I don't want to put out any kind of Fact or Fictions this week and next week that are going to be basically be someone's Fact or Fictions at that point. So we're going to pause on that. We're still pausing on Comic Book Club, just kind of as we start getting the swing of things, especially if we're going to be doing Wonder Man. Comic Book Club is going to come back. But once we figure out Wonder Man at that point, if that may take up the bulk of the show, we may kind of preempt that until maybe the end of Wonder Man to give as much time as we need to it. But again, so just kind of stay tuned on that one. Comic Book Club is coming back, and I think we're gonna have some fun with that one this year as we lead to Doomsday. So, yeah. But all right, so we did have questions. I did put out the Spidey signal for it, and we got questions across some of the socials. So, David, why don't you take it away?
All right. First question from Joseph Golden. In the wake of so many leaks coming out of Marvel, how do you feel about the leaker/spoiler culture has colored some fans' opinions on how film/TV shows will turn out before any of those fans had a chance to actually see it?
That is a good question, Joseph. And it is, we can go off the whole idea of these were leaked on purpose, or these were controlled leaks. That even though it was, well, Marvel's striking them down, yeah, but it's driving the conversation. So, do I feel that the leakers, spoiler culture, has colored some of the fans' opinions in how film and TV would turn out? I will agree with you. I think they do. And it's the unfortunate nature. I mean, to the extent of what we do on this show, we just did it. We broke down a leaked trailer. Yeah, we didn't show it, but we didn't shy away with it because that's what drives our content on the show. So we're guilty of it at that point. It does color it, and it's unfortunate, but unfortunately, this is the nature of the game right now. And we were of an age, at least I don't count myself in the sense of like I've got to put out something immediately when it is, because I'm also not about ruining other people's experience. I mean, again, some of this, the Thor trailer has been out for 2 weeks. This X-Men has been out for a little bit while, but we're not out to ruin it. We're just more out to drive the conversation. But you are not wrong in that assessment that it does hurt. Maybe a lot of times for those shows that maybe don't have a good vibe about it, like in this case, Wonder Man. Yeah, it can hurt it. I mean, there were no leaks with that, but yes, it can and does color some of the reviews and expectations for the shows. I don't know. What do you think, David?
I think that I have two thoughts about this. I am not a fan of the super scooper styles. The I have to get everything out early. I have to be the one who says that I'm spoiling every little piece.
Soups.
Exactly. I do think that takes away some of the fun of the movies, and especially like if you spoil without warning, I think that takes it away. I think in this instance with these Avengers ones, I think that you're not going to convince me otherwise that it wasn't carefully curated. I do also think that in this one, the fact that it was releasing a week early and you're not showing me a set photo of something next year for now, or you're not giving me raw and uncut with some missing VFX because you want to say you were the first one to capture this person live action in some type of I got you so moment. This is really, hey, this is going to be releasing on Thursday for a movie that you've either already seen or don't want to see. Here it is now. I think that there is a slight difference, but yeah, the soup style, the I have to give you everything, the oh my god, you guys will never guess who was on set, and the picture that I have of an aerial drone 500 feet away to prove it. Like I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah. A little shout out my co-host Jake from The Brave and the Boys, saying love this show. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Jake. Thank you very much for tuning in. A little plug there, but it's something that we're just stuck with, and we either learn to adapt with it. And what I always tell people, this, even like I'm saying with Wonder Man, like, and I've said for other shows that just not necessarily end up being my tempo. I will say this with any kind of comic I read, any movie I watch, if or TV show I watch. Don't let me or anyone else determine for you what you see and what you don't see. I'll give you my opinion, but I'll be the first one to say, that's just my opinion. Go form your own opinion for yourself. Go out there and see it. And if you like it, great. More power to you. You Cyclops lovers, go for it. Love y'all. But still wrong. You do it. You do that yourself, because that's the only one. No one can change. You form that opinion. If you're just going to let reviewers, content creators, things like that form that own opinion for yourself, then you're nothing. You're letting other people determine your life for you, and your fandom for you. So I challenge you to, listen to them, but go out there and form that opinion for yourself.
Yeah.
All right. What's our next one? Speaking of Cyclops.
All right. Next up from J.K. Green. Will Chris admit that Cyclops is right, or at the very least that Cyclops looks very, very, very cool in the trailer?
Notice you had a few more extra varies. I will take this last part of the question first. I will admit that Cyclops looks very cool in the trailer, in the sense of I've got my comic accurate suit in live action. I love that Jim Lee suit. I mean, if you're watching on YouTube, this is the infamous X-Men #1, the highest selling comic of all time. We're blocking most of it at that point, but this is the Jim Lee, Chris Claremont, the Jim Lee images at that point. Yes, that looks very cool. Now, will I admit that Cyclops is right? No. And what I did tell J.K. Green offline when he put this out there, said, will I admit it being wrong? Right? No. Cyclops is still wrong, and I'll tell you why. If you look at that scene where he's firing his optic blast, takes it off, there are two Sentinels walking in the background. That's where you should be firing, you fool. You're firing God knows where at that point. So there could be a Sentinel that way. I don't see it. So therefore, not happening. Therefore, Cyclops still wrong. He's the reason. Like, he should be firing that direction, saving lives at that point. No, he's ripping off his thing and firing an optic blast and God knows where. So no, still wrong. Cyclops is still wrong. There you go. There's your answer.
No love for the man. Cyclops
Absolutely
is right.
Absolutely
Cyclops is absolutely right. He knows what he's doing, and who are we to question his leadership?
I will.
When he says
I
to
just
me,
I
"My
proved it.
X-Men," I come. Here I am.
I'm not gonna admit I still get to hear it in live action. Yeah, that's gonna be a cool moment at that point. Not because it's coming out of Scott Summers at that point, but I've proven, and I proved earlier in the comics where my dislike of Scott Summers has come into play. But here's a question from All in the Game: Is if it's really good, any chance Wonder Man blows up? There's always a chance. Absolutely, there's always a chance. But to our earlier question, not necessarily about leakers, but could this really, if they do nothing to build up the excitement for it, if there's nothing like that up front, does it even have a chance if it's proven to be very good? There's something to be said, like movie word of mouth is one thing, TV show word of mouth, that's a little tougher.
Yeah. Marvel's not going to turn down money. If this is something that can make them money, then yes, they will start to promote it more. But I don't think that they care enough to start doing that now.
Yeah. It is, interestingly enough, that I'm not trying to put conspiracies out there, that we have now we have Echo, we have this one, 2 shows that are headed up by minority casts, minority direction. Also, no, take it back, 3 shows, Ironheart. So just putting it out there that it's rather interesting that 3 shows are not necessarily given the time of day. I'm not saying that they were amazing shows in general, but all 3 of them putting out there, led by minority casts, are not given necessarily the promotion and are dropped necessarily given this promotion. So that I also think is, to say it's disappointing, that's an understatement. They need to do better. And yeah,
it's
not a good show.
It's not a conspiracy, but it is a pattern.
Yeah, and not a good pattern to be linked towards. So, yes, I'll get it. I was just saying, I know there's a third one. What is it? Ironheart. Yep. See, proving my point. So, but all right. Well, episode 282 in the books. Happy New Year, everyone. I think we hit off on a banger of an episode with all this kind of great content after a couple of weeks leading up to the break that we had, kind of struggling a little bit with what Marvel was putting out there. But, we've got a next couple of weeks with some very good content coming with you. Maybe a week break in there, just depending on how the week before Wonder Man comes out. That might be a good thing for us, possibly, just because of how we're going to attack Wonder Man. But again, we are happy to be back. We're happy to have you all join us. So, but just again, a reminder, next week we will be going live at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Next Thursday for the Reckoning / prediction show for annual 2026 predictions. So, David, tell people how they can follow you.
You can follow me on all socials at The Phantom. You can follow me here on the GeekVerse Network as part of the wrestling show, The Gimmick. We have a show coming up this weekend where we are finally getting back together, because just like with us here at Marvel, we took a break for the holidays and to enjoy. So we'll be coming back with a new wrestling themed show this weekend. So yeah, you can follow me again, all socials at The Phantom and here on The Gimmick.
Yes, sir. And then you can follow me on all the socials at Chris Balga. You can check me out also on the Brave and the Boys channel. We just dropped our new catalog show, our monthly show, looking at the new Final Order Cutoff pre-order catalog for all of our best picks at that point. It's a good month of a lot of different books at that point. We give our recommendations, we show off our hauls, and give some interesting recommendations and previews for the next couple of preview cycles. So check that out on the Brave and the Boys channel. And you can email the show at marvelalliance@gmail.com. You can follow the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network on Twitter at GWAPod Network. Feel free to tweet, email if you want to provide feedback, ask questions. DMs are open across the board. Continue to rate and review the Marvel Alliance solo feed on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcasts. We greatly appreciate it. I want to thank you all for joining us live in the chat. Stay safe out there. And as Stan the Man would say, Excelsior, true believers. All right, David, post-credits discussion tonight. What you got?
Post-credits discussion with 2025 officially done. What is your most disappointing moment, and what is the moment that has made you the most hype when it comes to Marvel or comic book movies or the hemisphere as a whole?
Yeah, because I had to ask them clarification for David because I was like, I know this is a Marvel show. I don't like for the MCU. I didn't really have a lot of hype that made me most hype. I mean, yeah, I love Daredevil Morgan, and that's the easy low hanging fruit. But I want to go a little bit beyond that. But we'll start with most disappointing moment for me. I'd say the most disappointing moment for me when it comes to the MCU is nothing coming out of San Diego Comic Con. I totally understand why. I'm not saying they should have been there, but that was probably one of the most disappointing moments of nothing coming out of San Diego Comic Con and getting me hyped for the whatever was coming the rest of this year, getting me hyped for what was next year. I didn't need like here's the slate of 10 more movies coming out or 10 more like just something. Again, I totally understand why, but I'm still allowed to be disappointed that they did not show it to San Diego Comic Con. Anyways, so what was your disappointment?
My biggest disappointment was the release schedule of Ironheart.
Okay.
We touched on it briefly a moment ago. I feel like they just they put it out to pasture. They put it out there to just like, all right, we've been sitting on this long enough. Here you go. They did the split episode release, but again, it was still there was nothing for it. And then after it was done, you have this big moment. The fans have been clamoring for Mephisto. We get Mephisto confirmed, and they don't even feed into it, saying,
It
"Hey,
it,
go
it
back
goes
and
it,
watch this."
it goes out like a wet fart.
Yeah, it's just that there was no care. That is my most disappointing because for all its flaws, it had its moments and it sets up for a future. And again, you've been having the fans, and the fans have been clamoring for Mephisto for so long, and then to have this moment and then just not do anything with it, not talk about it, not touch on it whatsoever. That was probably my biggest disappointment.
Yeah. My most hype moment, kind of thinking about it of last year of entertaining comics, anything like that. I would have to say that I'm going to the distinguished competition when it comes to in comic books forms. The absolute line of DC that they have been putting out has been a breath of fresh air for the industry. Um, and I'll be frankly honest that most of what Marvel has put out last year, with the exception of things like Ultimate Spider-Man and some of the comics in the Ultimate Universe, not most of them, but probably one or two of them, Marvel has not done anything really well, in my opinion. That has not got me hyped for anything. DC, if you want to look at the big two, um, DC has really owned the comics of 2025, and they led by Scott Snyder's leadership through the Absolute line with Absolute Batman. You got Jason Aaron with Absolute Superman. You got Kelly Thompson with Absolute Wonder Woman. You got Dennis Camp with Absolute Martian Manhunter. There are a few other titles that I'm like, not feeling it. Green Lantern, you're one of them. But as a whole, the Absolute line was awesome. You've got Mark Waid and Dan Mora on World's Finest, the Superman Batman thing. And then you've got the event that is going on right now in DC, DCKO. Yes, it sounds so gimmicky, but man, is it a great, cool read. The tie-ins are really hitting on all cylinders. And I'm telling you right now, Marvel is gearing up for an event that's led by Chip Zdarsky that's kind of hinting at a quote-unquote little bit of a reset for them. I trust in Chip Zdarsky. He is one of my favorite writers going on right now. But man, I'm not telling him you got to steal someone's notes from DC. But man, DC owned 2025 when it came to comics. So that is my most hype moment.
Yeah, I was talking with a coworker about this recently, and I said that this line of comics with DC reminded me of the original run of Marvel and their Ultimates line. Like it's a good just dive in jumping off point that you can really just get into. So I'm like when it comes to the Absolute line, this is their version of the 2000s Ultimates line, and they are rocking it so much.
Yep, we've got Bear saying agreed. I have been enjoying absolutely and personally enjoying D more between Thundercats and Transformers. KO has been great. Yeah, I'm more. If anything, I could talk about indie comics, Image, Dynamite, IDW. There's some great Mad Cave. If you are not looking at Mad Cave Publishing as one of the biggest rises of indie comics, you got to check him out at that. But Mad Cave is certainly doing some great stuff. One of the titles coming out of there, Dick Tracy, highly recommend it. Absolutely. But Mad Cave's got some great stuff going on. But yeah, great closeout question tonight, David. And but yeah, we will see you all next week, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time for the Reckoning / 2026 predictions. Talk to you all later. Bye bye.
See ya.